You're tuned into TobiTalks, Episode 8, Certified Nurse Assistant. Because every nurse superhero needs a badass sidekick. For many of you out there who don't know me, I am a huge superhero fan. Like, I love all the Marvel movies. I usually watch them the day they come out. Okay, and since I'm already on here, whoop, whoop, Team Wakanda. What I really love most about superhero movies is that it takes literally a whole team to like battle, you know, and actually take on a villain or work together to get something done. And I look at healthcare the same way. Like, there is no way I can call myself a superhero nurse and not give credit to those who have helped me take care of my patient. They say this a lot in Africa, that it takes a village to take care of a child. Well, it's the same thing in healthcare. It takes a healthcare system to help give health to one patient. So I just really have to say that I could not have been a superhero nurse without my badass sidekick, CNAs or PCTs helping me. And I started as a PCT. I actually was a nurse tech when I graduated. Before I even graduated, I was a nurse tech. And my experiences is what helped me continue to pursue my nursing career. So I just kind of wanted to have this topic today because there's so much stigma and stereotypes about what a certified nurse assistant does or what a PCT does, which is a patient care tech. And it's more than just bathing a patient or taking a patient to lab. But I feel like I'm already telling you guys too much. So let's go ahead and hop into this conversation. Tell me about how you just got the desire of wanting to even get into this healthcare field and actually wanting to become a nurse one day.
So where did my desire come from? And I have to kind of go back into some backstory, right? Like, in my entire life, I've always loved like helping people. I've just had a very servant heart, you know, like I love being there and just trying to build people up, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I've gone through a lot of different jobs of like construction and just other things where I thought, you know, I can help them do this. I can help them do that. Like, I can always find a way of the silver lining, if you will, you know? Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, and then as I got older, I started saying, you know, I don't want to grind my body down. I want to do something where I feel like I'm making a difference. And, you know, you fast forward to mid-20s, I moved to Lubbock. I get this idea of like, well, maybe I'll become a radiology tech, you know? Mm-hmm. They make good money, like, I'll be helping people, like, sounds good. So I got a job as a transporter at UMC. Mm-hmm. It's a hospital up in Lubbock, Texas. Started kind of checking the whole hospital out, seeing what I liked, what I didn't like. Even had some experiences of seeing some nursing things that I was like, nope, not going to do it.
Not about
That's
that.
Too far. Right, I'm not about that life. You've done too much, ma'am. I don't know if they told you about that in nursing school, but that is not what I thought nurses were supposed to do.
Right.
I stand corrected. I didn't know.
That's good.
I didn't know. So, you know, I was feeling the whole, you know, I just started doing my prereqs for school and stuff like that. And then I realized, like, about a year in, I was like, man, I can't be stuck in a room. Like, it's not my personality. I can't do the same thing in a room every day, you know? Mm-hmm. I said, well, nursing is the other best option. I'm going to have to get over those things that I think I didn't want to do. What you once thought was something you could never like, nope, not going to do it. I can't do it. That's not my style. I can't get past that, you know, mentally. Mm-hmm. Is now such a normal thing that you just realize, like, people just need help.
Yes.
And it's just as embarrassing for that person as it is for you. And you as a medical professional, you have to elevate yourself. You know what I mean? You have to say, it's okay. You have to make them feel comfortable. Like, it's okay. We do this every day. It's an honor to serve you, because really that's what the mentality we need to have, right? Like, we have the blessing of like service to people who need it, and to do things for these people that they're even embarrassed to like let you do to them. Yes. Because nobody wants to do half of the stuff that nursing staff and medical staff have to do for our patients. The patients don't want, you know, everybody has a level of pride where they want to be independent, right?
Yeah. No, go ahead. I love that you said that. That's an awesome statement.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just that realization after time of like, we're here to serve and provide comfort for our patients. And the best thing that, in my personal opinion, that we can do for our patients is to make them forget about what they're going through by providing them comfort and joy and just being yourself. Because if there's anything patients can tell is when you're not being yourself.
Okay, they'll know when you fake.
And you can't be anybody else, you know?
Mm-hmm. They'll sense fakeness real quick. Just like we being normal, we can sense when someone's being fake and not real to us the same way a patient can. Like, we can tell when you being real, and we can tell when you being disrespectful, rude, not about trying to, you know, take care of me. Like you said, we are honored to take care of someone in their most vulnerable state. Like, you are vulnerable and you're allowing me to take care of you. That is an honor on my behalf, because I know if I was in your shoes, how I would feel being vulnerable and having to depend on you. So to know that I am honored to do that for you and keep your dignity and show you that I'm going to love on you, I'm going to take care of you like it's my own body. That is exactly what it's like to be in the nursing field, be in that role, be in that atmosphere.
And that's that little, to me, that's that little golden nugget, right? That reminds you, you know what I mean? Like when you feel maybe you're a little off course, like, man, I'm not in the zone. What am I doing wrong? Like, I remind myself of that when I'm out of the zone. Like, this is a privilege, and I'm honoring these people by serving them, you know?
Yes.
And how would I feel if I was in their position?
Yes.
So in a roundabout way of answering your question of like why I got into this field, like this is why I got into this field. Because I have the opportunity to do something that most people don't even know how to do, want to do, believe is necessary to do. Like, you elevate people out of the life situations that they're in, and you make a difference with the most little itty bitty tweak that you think is not a big deal. The family members, the patients, to them, it's a big deal because they're the ones going through that difficult time in that moment, you know?
So why did you choose to become a nurse tech? Like, how did that come about? Like, you said you did radiology and you decided, man, I want to shift into, you know, actually being in that nursing field. What made you want to become a nurse tech?
So that's a good question. I knew that my next option was going to be nursing, right? And so I had done other stuff, like before I got the job that I have now as PCT or as a support tech before that. I worked at an adult daycare center for mentally disabled adults, right? Mm-hmm. And I kind of taught them like daily living stuff, and that was cool, but I knew that that's not where I wanted to be. And this opportunity came out, you know, at the hospital that I work at. And I applied for the position, and I was like, well, let me gain some experience to see if, one, this is what I want to dedicate my life to, you know, as being an older, you know, professional of like, hey, I don't want to waste, you know, 4 years of my life and then find out that that's not what I want to do, you know? Mm-hmm. I knew that if I could get this job, it could open my eyes to what nurses really do and what, you know, what it is to really work in a hospital and being on that side of it instead of just transporting people from one room to another, from radiology to a room or wherever the case may be.
So, and were you scared to do that?
It was, I was not, only because I was really excited to have the job. Because to me, it was a blessing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I was already, by the time I got this job, like, I was already done with my adult daycare center place. Like, I need to find another job. And then this same day I made that decision, this blessing came in, go from like stress to like super excited. Oh man, can't wait to see what this has to hold for me, you know?
That's good.
And I walk into this hospital, and my first day I walk in, I'm like, I have a volunteer walking me to the floor. He's in a wheelchair. He threw me off because I just hadn't had a lot of experience with that. And I thought, you know, I got there's nothing the hospital has to throw my way that I'm not going to have seen before, you know? Mm-hmm. And boy, was I wrong. Has this hospital, orthopedic hospital, like opened my mind to just like the beauty of people being different and unique and being amazing, like not judging a book by its cover, by the unique differences that person has that makes them special, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Looking at it now, you know, like having the opportunity to work there for as long as I have and like being able to appreciate the strength that so many of our patients have and that you don't see on a regular basis in this world because we're all a woe is me kind of personality, you know?
Yeah.
Or culture. And like, kids in general are just resilient, but like I feel like these kids that are in and out of hospitals and for their entire lives, man, they just have a totally different outlook on life.
They do.
And
they do. They really do.
It's inspiring.
We underestimate them. That's the crazy thing. We actually underestimate them. We kind of put their disability as a stigma and think that, oh, they can't do this. Boys, you're wrong. Them kids will outshine you. Okay?
You said it. But you don't know it until you live it. Like, it's just like so many other things in life. Like, we all form opinions from what we can gather. But when you're right there in the driver's seat of like seeing firsthand what people go through and what they can overcome, it's inspiring to like know that people with quote unquote less, which people would say less, truly have so much more.
So much more.
And it's
so much
and
more.
Like chew on that fat for a little bit of like realizing, you know what I mean? Like how thankful they are to just have people to talk to, and their family members are just, oh my God, overwhelmingly appreciative. And you get so many thank yous and hugs for getting them sheets. Like yeah, I mean, you're welcome. You know what I mean? But they're just thankful that somebody actually did what they said they were going to do, or that they were just treating them like family, because that's what we do at our place. We treat you like family, you know?
So for me, as I guess I would like to know from your viewpoint as a patient care tech, what does the role entail? Like, really, tell me about what it is to be a patient care tech. Give me a day in the life of David on the unit.
A day in the life of David is you come in, you clock in at 6:45, you get on before 6:45, because you have to be on the unit by 6:45. You gather all your information, which is like who your patient list is, who your nurses are, what surgeries are going to happen regarding the patients that you have. So you can kind of get an idea of like how you're going to schedule your day out, as far as like, you know, what their shift situation is, if they're Q2, Q4. So like Q8, Q shifts, Q all that, that's like your vital signs,
okay.
So like your blood pressure, your temperature. Then you have your R's and O's, which is like your intake and output for like fluids and any kind of food that they're taking in, solids. And then also when they go to the restroom, are they voiding? Are they having a BM or a bowel movement? If so, how many times a day during your shift? What times? Just so that the doctors have a better understanding of like what's going on with the patient, right? Mm-hmm. And so depending on whatever the patient's going through, or if they just got out of surgery or whatever the protocol is for, you know, each patient, you either do it Q shift, which for me will be every 8 hours or every morning when I come in, or it'll be Q12, so every 12 hours or 4 hours or 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And then, which will be like blood pressure and temperature and respirations and all that good stuff. And then your RIs and O's with your how much you're drinking and taking in and putting out is every 2 hours. And that's just the common for us and at our hospital. So you just get started on your day.
Wow. So it sounds like a variety of things that you do. And I heard that you say when you come in, not only do you get your patients, but you also get the nurses. So how do you work in hand with the nurses?
Oh, that's a lot of fun. So I'm really lucky that the nursing staff in my hospital, they're all pretty chill. You know, like I've known them for a long time. And so they're all, they work well, you know, very friendly to me. Mm-hmm. But basically you come in, you gather all your patient information on your end, and then you'll just touch base with them in the morning before your day gets started and say, hey, what kind of information can you give me for, so, you know, these patients that I have for you. And so what they'll do is they'll get on their system if they haven't already got a report, which majority of them do by the time I go speak to them. They'll give you the important stuff that you need to know as a tech. Okay. Which is what time they need their vital signs, R's and O's. Are they going to take a shower today? Do they wear diapers? Do you have to change them? Do parents assist? Do they need to be lifted? Can they stand? Can they not stand? Do they need to be rolled every 2 hours from side to side to avoid pressure ulcers and things like that? Are we going to change their sheets? There's just a lot of things that need to be considered, but once you realize, like, especially for our hospital where we have lots of long-term patients, mm-hmm. You just get into a routine of like, who needs what days, do they go to school, because we are a children's hospital. Our long-term patients go to school there, so we have to get them up by a certain time, make sure that if they're showering that day, that they've showered, have their teeth brushed, put on clean clothes. We do a lot of traction stuff, which is a weighted system that assists straightening of the spine for our scoliosis patients.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to make sure that there's a proper weight on that. And we just get started on a day. Make sure they eat breakfast and all that good stuff. So that's in a nutshell what we do first thing in the morning. And then it kind of just continues every 2 hours. Vital signs, RIs and O's. If the parent's there, make sure you touch base with the parents, make sure they feel comfortable. And just, try to sprinkle in like interacting with them because, the parents miss adult interaction too. They may not understand where they're for their children, but they like to, if they're going to be there for months at a time, like you might as well get to know them because they're very appreciative and insightful. They can truly give you answers about their child that the kid is too young or not comfortable answering for themselves. And so they can tell you, yeah, he's going to the restroom. Yeah, he's not feeling well, or he's a little stressed out. You mind talking to him a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of give you the little like insight, and then you can kind of break in like and really connect with the patient, which makes a huge difference in everything else because you're able to talk to them normally and tell them like, hey, this is why we need to do this. This is why, and you form a bond and a relationship with them and they trust you.
Man, so it just seems like what you're doing, just the role seems so broad. And I really like that you went into the full details of not only how you are assisting the nurses with helping them get the vital signs, helping them get the intake and outtake of the patient and the kids and what they're eating. And you really are assisting the nurses, but not only are you assisting the nurses, you're also assisting the patients and their family. You were saying that you have to build relationship with the parents that are also there long-term because it also helps you understand the child and what the child needs because the parent knows best, of course. So how is that for you? Was this something that when you went into this role, was that something that was taught? Like, okay, this is how you're going to interact with the patient. This is how you're going to interact with the parent. Or is it something that you just gradually, naturally formed and know how to communicate? Like, how was that? Because that's a whole nother aspect of a patient care tech is even building that relationship between the family and the patient.
Right. That's a very good question. For me, the way that I was able to get into like the how to interact with the family members and the patient and all that good stuff was a little bit of both, to be quite honest with you. I was lucky enough to where I have like a blessing of like a natural skill set to like interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that in a very humble way. Like it's just something that I connect with, like I am open, I listen, I'm really good at listening and just letting people, especially at the beginning, tell you how they are. And I'm big on asking questions. Like when you follow nursing staff, when you follow other professionals that have done this for a while, or you just know that they're good,
mm-hmm.
I'm very humble. I will watch you like a hawk and see what you're doing because I want to learn.
Right.
I want to make my experience with these patients as the best experience that they can possibly have,
Yeah.
So to kind of elaborate on that is a little bit is like I've worked with several nurses that are just super awesome at interacting with patients, regardless of where they come from or what their life experience is. And I watched them and I took notes and I asked them stuff. And then I realized one day through the whole process of doing this was like, be yourself, right? Because our hospital is a teaching hospital. So we have a lot of like student nurses that come in every year and they're trying to get their feet wet and they're trying to like really learn as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I come in, I have a very unique way of being myself. Like I truly am myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally had to tell a nurse student one day was like, if I can give you any advice that I could, that you can take on for the rest of your life is be yourself. You can't be David. I can't be you. You can't be any other nurse. So do you.
Do you,
and be honest. Like, And it sounds so corny, right? Like you hear and you're like, oh yeah, do me. Okay. Like I didn't know that, especially as an adult. You're like, I know who I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know me.
Right. And it's funny to tell another adult to do you, like regardless of whether you're a young adult, but it's like the best piece of advice you can give yourself,
I love how you said that. I really do. Like, be you. And that is probably one of the best things you can learn when you are communicating with the family and with the patient, is how to just do you. Like, be yourself, be open, and, share what you can to just almost kind of empathize or be a part of them. Because even in being in the hospital, they don't want to just always talk about their illnesses. They don't want to just always be about, it's just my sickness or my disease or whatever I am. They want to live a normal life. So for you as a patient care tech, how do you help? Because you say you work in a children's hospital. So how do you help children as a patient care tech not feel like they are there because of their illnesses? What other things do you do outside of just providing the care that they need? Do you participate in their activities with them? I heard you were saying that you have to get them ready for school. What other things do you help do to help these kids? Man,
so I think you have to try to make it as normal. Like, I interact with my kids like I was picking them up for school. I was getting them ready. Like, we're not even in a hospital. That's a whole nother thought process as far as I'm concerned. Like, hey, come on, we getting up. Once you get to know, and that's the beauty of like knowing your patient, because no patient's the same, right? And so like the way you would interact with one of them, even if they're similar, you can't necessarily just assume that you're going to do the same thing to the other one, and it's going to work out the way that you want it to, right? Mm-hmm. So the better you can, the more you can learn about your patient and learn how they are in the mornings. Like, you work with them a couple of days in a row, or this is why communication with other employees is so important. Yes, because your coworkers can tell you, hey, I do this, he doesn't like this works with them. Don't even think about trying this. Mom gets here at this time. You know what I mean? Like, you save yourself so many headaches by communicating with your coworkers and just keeping it fresh. Like, what's important, family history, like, hey, they went through this, and I would try to avoid bringing up this type of conversation. Like, why shoot yourself in the foot when you're trying to start a conversation about family and you didn't know that family members just passed away a couple weeks ago? You know what I mean? Like, that's not a conversation you want to have right now. I think what I love to do, man, is I like to, well, especially with kids, I like to just joke around with them. I like to make them feel normal, quote unquote normal. As in, I don't like to focus on the fact that they have a medical problem and that's why they're here. Like, yeah, I'm going to acknowledge it because we are at a hospital, but I'm here to mess with you, talk to you. If you function and you can communicate with me, we're talking. And if you can't, we're talking. I'm going to have a conversation with you like you're responding to me. And the parents, like, especially when they first come in, they look at me like, why are you talking to this kid who's non-responsive? Like, they don't talk. Bump that. I don't care what none of y'all say. Every kid deserves the respect to have a communication and be acknowledged when you walk into that room. Yes. That's the right thing to do. Yes. And you know what? A lot of these kids and a lot of these patients, man, they can hear you and they can understand, but they cannot communicate. Yes. They like you more when you treat them like a person. Yes. We all deserve to be treated like a person. Come on, and baby. I don't care what anybody says. I've had so many patients that the family members are like, they like you. Like, this person likes you. I don't know why. They don't like nobody. And I'm telling you right now, it's because I do that. I've had so many patients that I look them in the eyes and I'm like, I know you understand me. And I'll tell them, I know you understand me. I know you're in there. We're going to talk. I'm going to talk to you. And if you find a way to figure out whatever you want to tell me, whether it's blinking your eyes or making a moan, we'll communicate. That is, and you look for so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Like, you are bringing me to tears. And it works. That is so beautiful. It works. And that's why I'm passionate about it. You know what I mean? I commend you for being so transparent right now, because you are not talking about a role anymore. You are definitely talking as if this is your life. This is who you are. And I love that, because being a patient
care tech is more than just the role. It's more than just assisting the nurses to help with the vital signs and the INOs and all that. It's more than helping take the patient to an activity class or to a x-ray or to surgery. It's more than that. And what I'm hearing you speak with so much genuosity is the fact that you are involved with these families. You are involved with the kids. Even the ones that you say don't respond, you show them so much respect and so much dignity by even communicating with them. And I love that you are highlighting this about your role, because it is more than just a task. This is truly what you are called to do. I mean, I just hear it in your voice, and it just makes me so excited to hear that. And I kind of want you to tell me, when you got into this role, what was your certification expectations? Did you already, become a certified nurse assistant? Did you have to take those courses, or did you already start this journey and then while you were a patient care tech, you got certified? How did you really get to be full blown in this role certification wise?
Okay, that's a very good question. When I first started working, especially at this hospital that I work at now, I was what is called a support tech. So I didn't do, I did a lot of the same things I do now, as in like making beds. I restocked a lot of stuff. You restock the whole unit, you make the beds, you help the nursing staff and everything they need. I worked evening shifts, so a lot of the times I did a lot of extra things that didn't really fall under the umbrella, like fixing TVs, beds, trying to figure out, because, a lot of people just aren't there, so we have to kind of figure it out ourselves, engineering wise and all that good stuff. Not that there wasn't people there to help, but they're busy doing their own stuff. So you kind of learn to like figure it out. Right.
Mm-hmm. All hands on deck.
After several years, right. And because we're a team, right? Like everybody needs to help everybody get this job done. That's how we are efficient,
Mm-hmm.
And, anyway, so you fast forward to like 4 years later. I'm like, okay, it's, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm very comfortable in it. And I had a job opportunity come up. One of my bosses presented it to me. She said, hey, this position is opening up. I know you say you want to get into nursing. Why don't you get certified in this and see how you feel? And I said, bet. Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. What do I need to do? So she said, get certified, figure it out, and then we'll get you in the position, Great. Sounds good. So I'm starting to look, and there's several schools that provide it. Obviously, you want to make sure they're state certified and that you're actually going to be able to take a state exam afterwards so that you can get certified.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not just selling you bogus classes. They won't do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like nervous because I can't get into one that like works in my time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up to a nurse, friend of mine, and I'm telling her the situation. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh no, we got to find something. I'm going to look like we would much rather have you fill this position than, some new person because we know you and we know how you work. So long story short, it's like a month course. It's 7 days a week. You're taking tests every week, and the last week is clinicals. So if you can pass that class, then you can take a state exam. I get into class. It's rough because it's like 8 hours during the day, and then you come do your 8 hours at night, and then try fitting in studying for your classes. Yeah, some of the stuff, but fortunately, but at the same time, you're learning a lot of things that you don't really like. I learned like what I need to do. I didn't learn like necessarily why I need to do it until I was taking this class, and it's like, oh no, that makes sense. And so that was a good experience, and it was kind of like a realization of like, oh yeah, like there's a reason why you have to get certified for this stuff,
That was good. So how many months did it take for you to get certified as a CNA?
Now, my CNA course was 1 month.
Oh, okay, good.
But you can do, yeah. So that one worked out perfect for me because you take the class, you get out, you have a year to do the exam, or as soon as possible. So I took mine within like 2 weeks. 50 to 70 questions, and then you have like 10 scenarios, and you get like 3 of them or 4 of them that you have to reenact. And so, which they teach you those things in class. And then, if and when you pass it, then you get a printout, a fax saying, hey, you passed your exams. And then when you, within like a month, you get your certification. So once you get that paperwork saying, yes, I'm certified, you're able to start looking for a job. Or if, let's say you had already started a job that said, hey, you need to be certified within so much time, then you're able to give it to them and have it certified, make it official.
You got this done under 2 months. You were able to take your course, take your exam, and boom, you certified as a CNA.
Right. And that was amazing for me because it not only provided, a different job title, which was, always nice, but it gave me more experience. It opened me up to different experiences like charting, actually taking vital signs, getting a little more hands-on and like really seeing what nurses do because, you're not really paying too much attention if you're not in there with them and, doing everything, like seeing how it affects how your work affects theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the key, right? Because you don't, like we've said before, like you don't really know until you're, elbows deep in it to really know like what people have to go through in their position, right?
Yes.
And so it's always easier to speculate. Like I've always respected nursing, but like, man, nurses do so much and don't get a lot of credit for it. Everybody always says it's nice to be appreciated for what you do. Yes. And I think that's a big note, like for me, fortunately, for me, a thank you goes a long way. And just being noted like, hey, man, it really helped me a lot when you went and did this for me, even though I know you didn't have to.
And that's good that you highlighted that because I feel like there's also a misconception about, CNAs or patient care techs or patient care assistant. I think there's a misconception that, we feel, or we, as me being a nurse, that we, don't appreciate you guys or, like you guys do so much and we don't care and we hand off all the hard work to you guys and stuff like that. I hate that misconception because I kid you not, I started from the bottom up. I started off as an extern, then I became a nurse tech, and then I was a new graduate nurse, and then I was experienced nurse. So I went through all the stages from the bottom up, and I kid you not, I could not be the extraordinary nurse or the best nurse or the rock star nurse without my PCA, without my my assistants or my CNAs. I could not, because for me to be a nurse, it's not about you. It is truly about the collaboration, the teamwork. It takes a team. It truly takes a team to heal a patient, period. So if I am like swamped at my work, I've got all this stuff going on and and my patient care tech handles one thing for me, I'm like, God bless you. Thank you so much. Because you have no idea how it feels to when you are working alone versus you have someone who has your back. And I always feel like the patient care techs or the CNAs, they were our second eyes, so we could be handling one thing, but they would be our second eyes. So if anything happened, like, yo, Toby, I really want you to look at this patient. I just took their blood pressure and it's ridiculously high. I would not have known that if I was already in another patient's room doing something completely different, So there is just no way that one field or one area should feel entitled or feel better than another area because we are truly a team. You cannot be an extraordinary nurse by yourself. That's impossible. Like, period. It is a teamwork in all aspects of healthcare. So I love that you brought that up. I mean, that was really, really big. So what are some of the challenges that you face in this role? Because yes, we can, I love all the highlights that we've talked about. I loved about, everything with being there for the family, being there for the patient, being there for the nurse. But what are some of the challenges that you do face in this role? And tell me about it. And how do you overcome that?
She said, challenging. Yes, Lord.
Yes, I did. Bring it out.
Challenging, man. I think everybody's going to have you're going to have like work, like hospital challenges, right? And then you're going to have like your personal challenges of what the things that you have to overcome, your insecurities and, your lack of confidence. And I think that those are some major, like more major than anything that you're going to come up through and work. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, I'm going to be completely transparent. Like when I was a support tech for 4.5 years before I started being a PCT. And, man, I came into PCT mode like, got this. Ain't nothing you can tell me. Like, obviously I'm going to be humble, but like, I'm not scared. Like, I got this, mm-hmm. Like it's just a different position. I have to learn and I'm going to move forward, Mm-hmm. And when I tell you that I had the roughest first 6 months ever, like I felt lost. Like I felt like I didn't even, like, what am I doing in this position?
Wow.
And it wasn't that I didn't know, like, how to give, like patient care. I knew how to do that stuff, but it was just like a total different realization. Like I'd never charted before, so I didn't really understand the charting system, although it wasn't difficult to pick up. Epic is actually very simple. I just struggled a lot with it because of like time management, right? Like I thought I had time management unlocked until I had like the responsibilities just built up, you know what I mean, compared to what I was doing before.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you want to do a good job, right? And so like the pressure was really pressure I put on myself of like, I'm not doing things to the level that I like to do them at. And so what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Like why am I not getting, why is this not transitioning as smoothly? And to the point to where my like personality changed for a while, where I was like super game face, super serious, where I'm really much more of a happy-go-lucky, like we'll figure it out. It's not the end of the world. Everything's going to be all right. We're going to keep moving, And that's really my mentality on most. And so the hardest part for me was, the biggest challenges was like getting out of my own way, putting my pride aside of like thinking that I should be doing better instead of appreciating the fact that I'm not where I was before, right? Like this is a beautiful opportunity to work, do something different. I am learning. I am not horrible at what I do. I'm just not where I want to be, but I will be.
Nurses do the same thing too. We make our mistakes, but those mistakes help us remember what not to do wrong the next time. It's like your mistakes help you be conditioned to catch what you missed the first time. That's why it's a mistake. You missed it. Right. So this time you're not going to, because you've missed it the first time. Now you're going to be more alert or more aware and more conscious of it. So that's good. I love that you highlighted that. I mean, that's amazing. So what advice can you give someone who is interested in being in your role as a patient care tech? What advice would you give them? Like, how would they start? Like, hey, I want to be a patient care tech. David, give me your advice. How do I do that?
I think there's going to be a couple different ways to do it. For one, I would highly recommend shadowing. See if you can get into a hospital, shadow a nurse, and see if, for one, you even want to be elbows deep in the stuff that you got to be in as a medical professional.
Elbow deep.
Because that's why.
Because we used to have some elbow deep situations.
That's real talk.
Real talk.
You're going to be in some stuff that you do not want to even talk about with anybody who's not a medical professional, because nobody else is going to get it.
There are some inappropriate jokes that only
stuff that we find funny.
That's why I said elbow deep. No pun intended.
Because real talk, you're going to get into some stuff. You might as well own get yourself a couple pairs of shoes.
Couple pairs of scrubs.
Throw one pair away. You're going to have to leave one out in the garage.
Okay.
Scrubs. You might as well find out where OR keeps their extra scrubs, because you're going to need a pair. You're
going to need a pair. And make sure you wear some goggles, because sometimes lice try to jump and hit you in the eye. Man.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about that story. I was like, T, are we gonna talk about it? Are we gonna talk about it?
Well, since you brought it up.
So there was one time.
Since you brought it up, there was a time where I didn't know. You know how you don't know, and then when you know how to prepare the next time. So I was taking care of a patient.
Oh yeah.
Who had lice, and of course I had to help do lice treatments, because that's a part of a nurse. We're taking care of you. So if you have lice, we're going to give you lice.
Part of what we do. Yeah.
Right, take it out. So of course we have our protective gear on. I have my PPE on. I have my gloves on. And I have a cap on, because you want to wear a cap. Make sure, none of the lice jumps at you and get in your hair. So I'm helping this patient in the bathroom. I'm combing this patient's hair out. I'm combing it. And I mean, the lice were just everywhere. I have never seen lice up close in my life like this. I'm not kidding. I am African American, so I have never dealt with lice. Very disrespectful. I'm African American. I've never dealt with lice. The last thing I remember about lice was back in school when they would part your hair and make sure you ain't got lice. And I'm black. I ain't got it. So that's all I knew. But not today.
FYI, a conversation to be had later on with fellow coworkers about it, because we did anyway.
Oh, good.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know, right? So I'm combing the hair out. I'm combing the lice product out of the child's hair, trying to comb out all these lice, because there was so much in there. And I kid you not, it was like shaking a hornet's nest. These lice were mad. They were like disrespectfully mad. Like they were jumping everywhere. And as I'm combing her hair, one lice literally jumped and hit me in my glasses. I thank the Lord that I had my glasses on. But I don't know where it went though. It jumped out at me, but I don't know if it fell on my cloth. I just didn't know, and I couldn't do anything. I was scared. Oh my God! And the sad thing was,
hey, did you hear the beep when it sounds so funny?
And the funny thing is, you can't. Of course, I'm freaking out, but I am a nurse first. Then I'm Toby and freaking out second. So I'm still staying as professional as possible, combing out her hair, letting her know everything's okay. Yeah. Oh, honey, your hair is so beautiful. Mind you, I'm still having post-traumatic stress about a lice that just hit me in the eye and I don't know where it is and I'm scared. So we kind of wrap up the treatment a little quicker than expected. Wrapped it up, braided the girl hair. And I was like, all right. So I'm going to have this patient care tech take you to your room. The moment that child left the bathroom, I think I almost went butt naked. I ran out. I was like, oh my God, somebody give me some scrubs from the OR. I think I have lice on me. It was one of the most scariest events in nursing. I just. So that's my story about the lice.
Yeah, I want
glasses. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to throw a little piece of that story that you left out.
Oh, I did.
Because it was this situation from my point of view.
Okay, go ahead. Take two.
I just happened to be the tech. I happened to be the tech that you were talking to. And my timing couldn't have been any more perfect because I happened to be passing by when that lice hit you in the eye. And I could hear you freaking out in the restroom. You were calm, but you were like, that lice hit me in the eye. And I'm passing by, I'm like, did Toby just say a lice hit her in the eye? And the door opens and you were like, D, real talk. A lice just hit me in the eye. I need you to go downstairs and give me some scrubs. Like that, right now. Because I need to change when I'm done with this. And then I said, say no more, fam.
Say no more.
Went downstairs, grabbed your scrubs, came back, and you're like, hey, the patient's ready. Can you take her back to her room? I said, well, let's swap out. Tag, you're it. Here's your scrubs. Give me the patient. And then I took the patient to the room. But it was pure happen chance. That's the best part of this story. I just happened to walk by at the time of this.
I'm telling you.
And it was so funny.
I'm telling you, if that wasn't
and she handled it like a queen. I'll tell you that much. Nobody else could have done it my way.
If I tell you not, if you didn't come through, people don't understand what it means to have a PCT or a CNA have your back. David, you had my back that day, yo. I don't know what in God's heaven sent you to walk past the moment that lice hit me, but the moment it did, you came through. Oh, you came through.
We got to, though. We truly have to, for each other. That's the whole point. And that's what I enjoy about this story, all jokes aside, and fun experiences that you get to have with other people. We have to support each other. We're there for, to make this happen. And
we shared that story about the lice, but you were about to say another thing about if someone was interested in this role, the advice that you would give them. And you were wrapping that up, and I cut you off because the lice hit your glasses, and then we fell off.
No worries. Volunteer, follow people, make sure that's really what you want to do. If you decide that it is, find a program. Find a program that's best for you. One of the things you want to keep in mind or do some research on is what jobs a PCT, a CNA, MA can get and what the pay is, and make sure you're comfortable with that, and make sure that you are willing to, because a lot of CNAs, or PCTs, we're going to get jobs at retirement homes or pretty much retirement homes or hospitals, really. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you'll get lucky and you'll do a home health or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to know what that entails, and you have to know that, be comfortable with yourself. Yes, I'm good with getting this kind of experience, or set yourself up with a job if possible. If you know somebody a nursing friend or whatever can get you a job as a PCT or whatever, then you get certified, and you while you're getting certified, you go and get your face and your name known, say hello to the management. Introduce yourself, try to get to know some of the other nursing staff, see if they can give you any advice, because a lot of places, it's knowing people. It's not always the case, but a lot of times knowing somebody will help you.
Yes, networking is important.
Where you want to be.
Networking is important. And
networking is very important.
I love that.
Yeah. Be yourself and have fun. enjoy what you do, enjoy the people that are around you, because this can be a stressful job, but it can be so enjoyable and so rewarding.
I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Toby Talks. And I know there was a lot of laughter at the end because look, when a lice hits you in the eye, you really have to reevaluate your life and figure out what's going on. And at that moment, I did. But anyways, I really hope that this episode inspired you to pursue your dream as a CNA if that's truly what you want to do. And it also can help bridge that path for you to enter nursing. There is no path that's correct or easy. So I really hope that David was able to drop a little bit of wisdom and information for you. Like I said, Toby Talks is always here and we love to hear from you. So feel free to send us an email, TobiTalks@TobiTalks.com. That's TobiTalks@TobiTalks.com. I hope you guys tune in for episode 9. You don't want to miss this. You definitely want to hear how you can be a clinical educator. That's right, with only 2 years or less as an experienced nurse. This is awesome. I love the guests that I'm going to share with you next time, so you don't want to miss out. All right, I'll be talking to you guys later.